I'm Casey Claiborne, and thanks for watching this CrimeWatch digital exclusive, where we take a look back at recent crime stories that have been making headlines in our area and across the state. We're learning more about the man police say is at the heart of a church shooting hoax in Burnett County. The man is behind bars after police say he made up a story after firing shots near a church. A friend of the suspect spoke with Fox 7 Austin's Jenna King and said he was shocked to hear about what happened.
There's enough going on in the world. We don't have to have people making things up.
That's the message from Burnett County Sheriff Calvin Boyd following an incident Sunday morning. It all started around 10:30 when police responded to the church at the epicenter just outside of Burnett for a welfare check following a 911 call. The church service was interrupted by a member with an announcement.
During worship, there were some individuals that were circling the building. Burnett County Sheriff's Department are outside.
The Burnett County Sheriff's Office says the caller requested police at the church and then hung up.
When we got to the church, we realized that there had been shots fired. The person that made the call is part of their safety commission, and he was the one that also fired the shots.
A church member who called had said after two people circled the church, a man in a full turban blocked the door and ran to a van where another person got out of the van with a rifle. That's when the safety team member opened fire at them. After investigation, that story was made up by the safety team member. The Burnett County Sheriff's Office says at no time was the safety of the church in jeopardy.
The rumors coming about jihadists, and it's unfortunate, but there wasn't a van, there wasn't two men, so it couldn't have been jihadists.
That team member, a Burnett County resident, 45-year-old Jacob Wayne Tarver, is now behind bars charged with 2 felonies and a misdemeanor for his fabricated story. And this isn't the first time Tarver has been accused of crying wolf. According to court records, Tarver was charged with a misdemeanor for false report to police in Caldwell County in 1996. Tarver's friend, Sean Linder, has known him for years through the church community. He says Tarver lost his daughter in a car crash recently and was shocked to hear about the news.
I go to the Methodist church, like right down the street. And so when we were ending, I was on stage to play music, and they made an announcement. So we were all kind of on alert, because we were thinking, man, people are driving around with machine guns or something.
The impact on the community was felt following the hoax. The sheriff's office said it had more officers stationed at schools following the incident. Linder says it raised a lot of concern in the tight-knit small town. He hopes a real emergency wasn't sacrificed because of the resources being used at the church.
It's very random. Knowing Jacob personally, I've always thought he's a good guy. And so I wish I had an explanation. All I can do is assume that maybe there was just some kind of stress that took him somewhere. I really don't know.
The pastor of the church posting a statement on Facebook. It reads in part, quote, "Sunday and Monday were 2 of the most difficult days we have ever experienced in our ministry, but also in our personal lives. At first, traumatic because of a report that we were the target of an intended mass shooting, then crushing to discover that what we had been led to believe was false," end quote.
That's a shame of all this, the man hours and all the resources that DPS sent and other agencies sent. We had helicopters in the air looking for this white van, so that's a shame of all. There's no telling what it cost.
A motive is still unknown.
An Austin school teacher has been fired and is facing a felony charge for unlawful restraint. Court documents say the Riley Elementary employee pinned a 6-year-old student to a wall using a door. Fox 7 Austin Tan Radford has more on that investigation.
Travis County court documents reveal on September 10th, Riley Elementary School first-grade teacher Luis Alvarado forcibly pinned a 6-year-old student to the wall with a classroom door using his body weight, resulting in the charge of a state jail felony.
Unlawful restraint is usually a misdemeanor, but in certain circumstances it could be a felony if it involves a child under a certain age or a peace officer.
Legal documents state the 6-year-old told their parent about the incident after school. The child's parent reached out to the assistant principal and submitted a police report to the Austin ISD Police. According to the district, the teacher was placed on administrative leave immediately. Through further investigation, the teacher admitted to his actions, saying, I kept him trapped. It was also caught on a hallway camera. Alvarado was arrested on October 1st and released on a $7,500 bond the same day.
The camera footage combined with the statement of the defendant probably created a stronger case for the prosecution, and they went ahead and filed the felony charge.
AISD sent this letter to parents, making them aware of the arrest and the decision to fire the first-grade teacher. The letter highlights the importance of safety on campus and informs parents the educator is being charged with unlawful restraint. Criminal defense attorney Sam Bassett weighs in on the possible punishment.
They could face a maximum of 2 years in the state jail system. Typically, if somebody has this type of charge and they don't have a criminal record or an extensive criminal record, it's unlikely they would be sentenced to incarceration. Probably a probation sentence is most likely unless the defendant has a record.
Tan Radford, Fox 7, Austin News.
Austin police are investigating the shooting death of a 17-year-old on Northgate Boulevard. They tell us the accused 16-year-old shooter appears to have been involved in several violent incidents in the past year. Fox 7 Austin's Katie Pratt explains how 2 homicides that happened months apart are connected.
A 17-year-old is dead and another teenager is behind bars for first-degree murder.
It sounds like this young man has been in trouble before. Sounds like he's somebody that's known to the police. He's on their radar. If we're talking about juvenile certification, it's very likely that they will ask that he be tried as an adult.
This was the scene that the Austin Police Department responded to around 8:20 Monday night on Northgate Boulevard, where they found a teen suffering from a gunshot wound.
Austin police officers, along with personnel from EMS and the Austin Fire Department, attempted to perform life-saving measures. Unfortunately, the victim was pronounced deceased at 9:01 p.m.
Police believe the person responsible left the scene after shooting the victim at his apartment complex. This death is being investigated as the 48th homicide of the year in Austin. APD says the teen suspect has been involved in other crimes in the area, including the 4th homicide of this year.
Not a shock that the gang unit is involved. So it sounds like he is kind of one of the, if you will, one of the usual suspects.
He did not carry out the January homicide, but was present when the shooting took place, which was also on a Monday night around the same time frame and on the same street. A 13-year-old was arrested for that murder in March and for his role in a drive-by shooting dating back to December 2023. As for what's next for the suspect in this case,
the court does revisit these things, but it would be very surprising if this young man got released. I think he's going to be in custody for quite a while.
Police say when they caught him, he was already out on bond for prior shootings. They are not releasing his identity because he's a minor. Katie Pratt, Fox 7 Austin News.
Days after the deadly shooting at an HEB in North Austin, police shared what exactly happened that day. A person died at the HEB on Canyon Ridge Drive, and we now know more about the moments leading up to the shots fired. Fox 7 Austin's Jenna King has that story.
A caller stated that a subject had been shoplifting and lunged at a security guard with a knife.
That's how eyewitnesses described the scene at the HEB on Canyon Ridge Drive Friday. APD Detective Bryce Bishop says the security guard was notified that a person was acting erratically inside of the store, possibly under the influence with a knife. Police identifying that person as 32-year-old Michael Rosario Jr. Tuesday. Detective Bishop says the guard tried to get Rosario to leave the store for 15 minutes, but was unsuccessful.
Attempts multiple times to try to talk the subject into leaving the store calmly. At no point in time does he have any type of physical contact.
HEB management also attempted to get him to leave the store. Detective Bishop says Rosario was pacing back and forth, holding a stick in one hand and using a hubcap as a shield as the security guard tried to talk with him. Rosario motioned toward the security guard, who drew his taser, which was ineffective. Rosario then pulled out a knife.
And Mr. Rosario continues to charge at Mr. who then transitions to his lethal weapon and fires approximately 4 shots.
Despite life-saving efforts, Rosario died. Fox 7 Austin asked APD why it took around 15 minutes to respond to the call. The department said it was working on getting us an answer. Detective Bishop says the uniformed security guard works for the Allied Universal Security Services as a level 4 guard licensed by the state of Texas through DPS.
Extremely thankful that Mr. made attempts to de-escalate the situation and also was able to stop what I believe to be a potential threat that could have seriously injured people inside of that HEB.
Rosario was never observed shoplifting, despite a caller stating that to police. We are not releasing the name of the security guard because he has not been charged, but APD says he is cooperating with the investigation.
A Cap Metro bus driver is speaking out after being assaulted on the job in East Austin. He says a passenger who refused to pay bus fare attacked and robbed her. Fox 7 Austin's Tan Radford has that story.
Around 6 a.m. Monday morning, Cap Metro bus operator LaTanya Jackson says she was driving her usual route when several passengers got on the bus. One of the passengers did not pay the fare.
It was a tax ticket inside of the fare box. So I'm assuming he's out like the fare box is broke or whatever, because he had his ticket out. He walked past, he went to the back. And I was like, sir, can you come and swipe your ticket for me? And then he just started screaming and yelling.
The bus operator says she called for assistance after the passenger continued to yell.
And I picked the phone up and I just was telling her, I was about to tell her what was about to transpire, but I guess he seen me on the phone and he was walking to the front like, oh, and you gonna call a white man on me? Like, I don't got none to lose. Call the police. I'm gonna stay here till they come.
She says the situation began to escalate.
And he came back to the front and the door that's connected to like our, safe space, he was trying to pull that door off from like the bottom of the hinges or whatever. And he was like, I'll take everything from you. I'll take everything from you.
The bus driver says the passenger reached over, took her belongings and a passenger's fare money that was getting on the bus.
He didn't know what was going on, but when he came to the bus, he was about to put his money in the fare box. And he snatched his money from him. He had took like all my debit cards, my identification, and he took maybe $2 or $3.
She says after taking the belongings, the bus rider got physical.
I just kept on keeping my eye on him. It happened so fast, but I seen him cock back, pull his arm back like he was about to swing on me. And that's what he did.
The bus driver says a group of passengers pulled the attacker off of her.
They actually restrained him until the police got there.
Cap Metro launched a transit police department this year to help with public safety of bus drivers and passengers. The Amalgamated Transit Union local president, Brent Payne, weighed in on the attack, stating in part, "We need to bring awareness to the elevated level of assaults on operators in Austin."
I always hear stuff that go on with people, but now I really, see it it can happen to anybody.
A jury recently found APD officer Christopher Taylor guilty of deadly conduct in the death of Morris DeSilva. But before that verdict came down, much of the attention in the courtroom was focused on a social media post from the defense. Fox 7 Austin's Jenna King has more.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Christopher Taylor, guilty.
They'd been deliberating since Wednesday, but on Saturday, a jury convicting Austin police officer Christopher Taylor of deadly conduct in the shooting of Maurice DeSilva 5 years ago. On July 31st, 2019, multiple 911 calls came in about DeSilva holding a knife to his own throat at the Spring condominiums in downtown Austin. DeSilva was shot 5 times by Taylor and twice by another officer. Prosecutors arguing throughout the trial, DeSilva was in a profound mental health crisis.
This was not a case in which deadly force was necessary or justified. It was completely avoided. And Chris Taylor killed him as he was asking for help.
Meanwhile, the defense argues it was reasonable for Taylor to respond the way he did.
He takes 2 steps in their direction. while they are frantically telling him, "Show your hands, drop it, drop the knife." Detective Taylor had a reason to believe that that's what Mr. Da Silva was doing, that he was attempting to commit murder.
While the jury was still deliberating Saturday, the focus shifted to a social media post from Taylor's defense attorney, O'Connell West. With the jury out of the room, the state asking the judge to hold the defense in contempt of court, which can be punishable by jail time, over this tweet. Quote, "Still waiting on a verdict in the case of APD Officer Christopher Taylor. We're baffled. This is the most clear-cut self-defense case involving an officer we've seen. The jury must be improperly considering the other unproven allegations made by the same anti-police DA." End quote. The state arguing that communication could have made its way to jurors, but the judge declining to hold the defense in contempt. After the guilty verdict came down, the Austin Police Department saying in a statement it respects the criminal justice process and understands this is a difficult time for all who have been impacted, end quote. DA Jose Garza also addressing the verdict, saying, quote, "We hope this outcome continues to help the Da Silva family with their healing process. We further hope this verdict allows the community to heal and we can move forward together," end quote. As for the defense,
No comment at this time.
Thanks for watching the Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch digital exclusive. Our Crime Watch stories run each Monday on Fox 7 Austin News at 9. If you missed them, you can watch anytime on our new Fox Local Connected TV app. Free to download, and you can watch on multiple platforms like Roku and Apple TV. Just stroll down from the live player and look for the Crime Watch section. For more on the stories highlighted in this episode, you can head to our website, fox7austin.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the Fox 7 Austin YouTube channel.